everybody. Welcome back to Just Mia's podcast. I'm your host, Just Mia, and I'm here today again with my friend Tiffany B from RestoreParentalRights.org. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Just Mia's podcast, and make sure you like and subscribe so that you get a notification when new videos drop. Tiffany, where can they find you?
RestoreParentalRights.org. I am also on the Instagrams and the Facebooks at Restore Parental Rights.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming back and doing another podcast. We just had so much fun last time. So we thought, hey, let's do it again. There's plenty more stuff to talk about. So let's just jump in. You had a few op-eds that dropped recently. So why don't we just get into those and tell us a little bit about those and where we can find them, where we can read them?
Okay. So I submit my opinions mostly to azfreenews.com. So if you go to azfreenews.com, you can search for me by my first and last name, Tiffany Benson. I am there. And then I also submitted to Arizona Daily Independent. I still owe them another op-ed, but I also started a Substack. So for those who are not aware of that, yes, you can find me on Substack. It's parentsPayAttention.substack.com. Yes. So the last op-ed that I put out on AZ Free News went kind of viral because what I dropped in that op-ed is that there is a statistic that came out, I want to say 2019 or so, from the Department of Education that says that about 12% of K through 12 students will be sexually abused by a teacher or a staff member by the time they graduate high school. And so out of 50 million students, you do 12% of that, and that's about 6 million students. But what I documented there in the op-ed is that number is actually probably only representing a portion of a bigger portion. Because out of that 6 million, those are the victims, the survivors who found their voice. Right. Those are just the people that somebody believed them. Mm-hmm. Those are just the people that could prove it, I guess, in a court of law, where an indictment probably happened. Right. So if you think about all of the children who may be being touched or spoken to a certain way, and they just either blow it off or the adults in their life don't believe them, that number, I think, could easily be double, which is scary.
No, I agree, because it definitely is happening.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
That is really sad.
Yes.
That's extremely sad. That's disturbing.
Yeah. I think because of the ideologies that are in the public school system, the whole safe spaces and all that crap, that is bleeding over into perversion. And so people who are pro all that stuff, they're basically finding some safe passage by getting jobs in school districts because they know that there are spaces where children are going to be talking about sexual things or whatever the case may be.
Yep. Well, because it's, getting more normalized now, right? That
I refuse.
People need to go in there and they need to go talk to these kids about those things because those kids need them.
Yeah.
No.
And
I think I spoke on that at the last board meeting, I think it was. Or was that the last one? Yeah, I think it was the last one because we were talking about the Gilson library books at Peoria Unified School District.
Yeah.
The Ironwood guidance counselors, Peoria guidance counselors, and the Peoria library paraprofessional were getting these books into the schools.
There was also an ELA teacher.
Yes.
Cannot think of his name right now. Okay, so
Dimony.
Christopher Dimony,
Dimony or
something like that. Yes,
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but yes, an ELA teacher. And I had spoken on it and put a public comment because exactly what you're saying. I think when they have these books and they bring them in and they create this safe space where they can go and ask questions and open up a conversation with these children, then the children feel like, oh yeah, I can go to them, I can talk to them, and then what happens if the next person who comes along doesn't have, good intentions?
Correct.
And now these kids are like, oh yeah, I can open up to them too. Or, just the SEL, social and emotional learning, that's come into the schools. I talked about how counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, they all have a board to answer to.
Correct.
But here you have social workers and guidance counselors practically performing the same tasks.
And they're unlicensed.
Therapy, all of these things. Psychotherapy, even though they say that it's not happening, it definitely is happening. And now they're blurring the line between professional and personal. So like all of those psychologists and all of those, they have a board to answer to. And one of the rules that they say is to not have a dual relationship. Do not have a professional and a personal relationship with somebody because there is a power control differential, and that could end up hurting the person who has less power. So now they're bringing this into the school. There are no accountability for these social workers or guidance counselors, and they are encouraged to create this dual relationship because everything is like, get to know the student, you find out what's going on, help them. But then they're blurring that professional and personal line.
Be a parent when their parents aren't around.
And then they're given access, one-on-one access. I mean, it says in there, they meet with the children one-on-one. And it's just like they're handing in these kids over to them.
They are. It's an experiment.
And making it so easy. And it's sad.
Yeah. It's really an experiment.
Sad. Yeah.
The main thing I wanted to bring up about the whole book situation. Okay, we do have a policy that parents have to sign the permission slips.
Yes.
If a book comes through the library, of course, there's review committees. There's different things that can regulate that. The issue with the whole Gleason thing and the Rainbow Library thing is that when we're talking about the counselors or an ELA teacher, which I thought was bizarre that an English teacher would want a Rainbow Library, but whatever. In those situations, the books are now sitting in shelves on their classrooms or on their desks or in their offices, whatever, cubicle. So there's no regulation for anything like that. If a child comes by to talk to you about a grade or about whatever situation, well, the book is just right there. The parents are not giving permission for the kid to explore anything sexual when the kid just came to talk to you about their grade on an exam, you know? But like you said, they're trying to normalize it, and that's why we have to push back.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, there's no accountability there.
No.
None. No. I mean, she got those books sent to the school, and, you know, the library paraprofessional, she got them, but they had, you know, the counselor at Ironwood. The library paraprofessional received the books, but they didn't have her name on them, the guidance counselor's name on them. So the guidance counselor is emailing the library paraprofessional, hey, did you get a box of books that I ordered? I think they sent them to you on accident. And the paraprofessional's like, no. Or did you order something from the Rainbow Library? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's them. It's like, oh, gosh, they're getting them sent to the school. And even in one of them, the counselor was like, I didn't want to order them and then have them come when I'm not here.
Yeah.
You know,
that's in the email exchanges.
Yes, it's in the email in the public record request. This is not, I'm not just making this up. Okay.
Right.
I read these in the public record requests. So it's just crazy. And I feel like the social emotional learning is just a huge part of it.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit here. Okay, at the last board meeting, which would have been, I want to say September 12th. Okay, at that board meeting, the motion to approve that Biden mental health grant, it failed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And rightfully so. That's not a program that you want in your school.
Right.
And this kind of goes along with what we're talking about right now and why that program needed to go away. There were some conservatives who were concerned about the fact that funding went away. This was funding that came in around COVID time. And so this was a Band-Aid situation where they were saying, hey, the kids need extra support because of whatever, you know.
2019, I think.
2019.
When they applied for it originally. Yeah.
And we had a few different board members back then than what we have now. But the point is that I put a post out, I want to say a few days ago, and I was addressing the fact that there were conservatives and teachers that I had heard from that were concerned about us getting rid of that grant. And a few of the reasons that I put on that post was, number one, if you're concerned about this, if you're conservative, you're concerned about this, you didn't actually read the grant. You didn't read the fact sheet that came out of the Biden White House. You didn't read the grant because that grant was giving all sorts of permissions to establish all sorts of dual relationships, and that's just not necessary. I mean, there was even things in there about trauma counseling. I mean, there was stuff in there that
one-on-one counseling, group therapy.
All this stuff was in the fact sheet or in the details.
Are they certified? Are they licensed?
They can be interns coming from college. I think another reason that I put in there, this was me being a little bit cheeky, but I'm being serious, that there were people I think who just forget that depending on government money is not something we're supposed to do long term. Not as an individual, not as an organization, not as an entity. Even the public school system, they take so many tax dollars from us that I feel like they should be able to manage that. And then grants are supplemental.
Yes.
Because with our tax dollars, we don't really make a lot of demands as we should for our tax dollars. The school district kind of just does what they want. But those grants have stipulations. So, those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. I know I read a few comments. One of them was a lady who was concerned that her child's IEP was going to be affected, which that's not true. It does not affect IEPs. It doesn't affect anything like that. This grant was dealing with interns. It was 3, help me out, what are they? 3, like the head.
Tiers, maybe?
No, like that are in charge of the interns. It was 3 social workers.
Well, they are the lady that had spoke at one of our board meetings was an LCSW. She was a licensed clinical social worker.
So there's 3 of them that were in charge of overseeing 14 interns.
Okay.
And so this grant was funding their salaries, I guess, from what I understand. Now, don't quote me on that, but from what I understand,
that's quite a bit. But one of the other things that I put on my post, I'll just bring it up because one of the other things that I had ended up putting on my post was that people were not aware of how many specialists we actually have in the district, and then how many will be retained after that.
Yeah,
I don't have that exact number in front of me, but it's quite a few. I'd say like 30. Something.
Social workers?
Yeah.
There's still 33 social workers in the
social workers, and then that doesn't account for behavioral interventionists. No,
that's not even all of
therapists,
those. Yeah, school psychologists.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit.
Like, it doesn't even include all of that.
Yeah.
There's still 33 social workers.
These were people that have had a job. They've had a job since 2019, since we had that funding.
Right.
And I tell you what, if they did a good job, then they will still be employed by the district. They might have to apply and take on a different role. But if they did do a good job, then they have earned tenure of some part. But otherwise, that supplemental grant, like, we don't need it anymore.
Right.
All the trauma is in the adults' minds. The kids will be fine if you let them be.
Right. And I mean, there's still people there to help the kids in need. The children who really need these services, there are still people there. There's still teachers that are mandatory reporters, admins. Like, somehow we got away from including the parent.
Yeah.
Because everybody just goes,
you don't say,
oh, this kid, they need help. Call the social worker. No. Like, you need to discuss with the parent first.
Here it is. This was number 5 on my post. This, I don't know if you can see that from here. That's my post. So we said, okay, who cares? Now, number 5 reason for why parents or conservatives were concerned about getting rid of this grant. I said, you forgot that it's a parent or guardian's responsibility to direct the mental health of their children. See Arizona Statute 1-601. If your kid has a mental health situation that's hindering their learning or causing safety concerns, then you need to do something about it, not the government.
Right.
There it is.
Right. And then I've seen a lot of people coming back, because a lot of people have been saying that. So I see a lot of people coming back and saying, well, not every kid, has that parent. Not every kid has somebody that's there to help them. In fact, somebody called me privileged because she said my privilege was showing because I said exactly that the parents should be the ones to be,
imagine having at least
child.
one parent makes you privileged now.
Yes.
You have to be an orphan.
Yes. So she said it was privileged. But I go back again to there are plenty of services still in place for those kids that absolutely need them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it just got all blown up in the media. Of course, not surprising.
It did.
Heather got dragged through the mud, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when people really don't know.
Right.
Because the grant, it's a big grant. You know, it's a lot of big words. It's confusing for people who really don't know grants. So I get it. And you just have to go off of what other people say, you know, which...
You should investigate these things for yourself.
Right.
It doesn't take very long.
Right.
To just Google something. That was what I did when I wanted to find out what the heck is in this grant. I didn't have time to read all the language.
Right.
That's what the fact sheet was for. The White House was telling you that they were proud of putting this money out there in hands.
Right.
And so,
Right.
but I do want to say this because I know that there are some people, privileged, there are some people who probably wouldn't dare think of taking food stamps or a government handout or anything of that kind, right? I'm independent. I support my family. I do these things. Well, the mindset that parents and families need to get into is that the public education system, government schools, that's welfare, essentially. And so that grant money is just an extension of a welfare nanny state type of situation.
Yes.
So when grants and different things are being stripped away, it might make you panic, make you freak out.
Yeah.
But just remember that just a few short years ago, those funds were not there.
Exactly. Previous to 2019,
right.
It was not there. And guess what? Kids still got the services they needed.
Yeah.
Kids still got all of the resources that they needed. So, you know, and that reminds me too of a lot of people saying they just left free money there. Free money. Well, money comes from somewhere. It's not free. Okay. So that's the taxpayers' money.
Exactly.
We're paying for that.
Just
you're paying for that.
An educational moment. The federal government is not a revenue generating entity. They do not generate revenue.
No, they
I know
don't.
they get into office poor and leave rich.
Right?
But just that, but yeah, that's insider trading and everything else they have going on. But they take taxes to do their business
A lot.
on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
So what's the next subject?
I don't know. What's your next op-ed?
That
That was good.
Gosh. Okay. And you're going to edit us up, right? Okay. So my next op-ed is going to be dropping hopefully soon, before the end of the month of September.
Okay.
And what I would like to draw attention to in this op-ed is that constituents need to know that school board races are not nonpartisan. Let's just talk about this because this is a problem. I think for those of us who are hard conservatives, like we know what to look for, we know what kind of conversations we're going to have with candidates, etc. We know what we're looking for. Mm-hmm. There are some people who are the middle of the road, kind of don't carry the way. As long as the kids get what they need, whoever says they're going to help me, they can help me. Right. Well, the thing is that
let's not ruffle any feathers.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that everybody has a set of values. Some of us have values that are a little substandard than others. Sorry, but it's true. Leftists are substandard, but with their values. But the thing is that it's not a nonpartisan race. If we end up with David Sandoval again, heaven forbid, if we get Melissa Gurmsheed, however you say it, Gurmsheed,
I'm not sure.
Micah Dyer, those three are radical leftists.
Absolutely.
Their campaigns may look clean, their social media may be clean, etc. But you only need to go a few clicks past the homepage, all right, of their campaign websites, and you will find out that they are leftists. Yeah. Even though they're registered nonpartisan, whatever, their endorsements alone tell the story.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Micah Dyer, I've heard him speak at school board meetings. He spoke on the whole bathroom policy issue. He wants boys to be using girls' restrooms and girls to be using boys' restrooms. And that's a hard no for me. Correct. So I'm not going to vote for him because they are very liberal.
Well, first of all, Micah Dyer is a child. I know by the state.
I got called a bully for calling him a child.
He's still a teenager.
That's what I said.
He just graduated in May.
That's what. No, I was a bully because
That's
I called him a child. And I'm like, in my mind, a child, he probably still either lives with his parents or lives on campus to ASU. I think that's where he's going to college. And I'm like, that's really not. You have no kids. You have no bills.
Well, he also made a statement that students know best how to serve the majority of the student population.
Which is crazy.
Which is silly.
And that's a child.
Something that teenagers, something that a teenager would say.
I'm like, that's exactly something that my teenager would say. Like,
the second thing, to your point about
I know what's
him,
best for myself, Mom.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You're
Right.
18, okay? Yeah.
To your point about him speaking on the bathrooms, he made a statement to a news organization. No, edit this part out. To your point about him speaking on the school bathrooms, there was also a statement that he made for, I can't remember the name of it. It's called The Courier. Dang it. Micah Dyer also made a statement in The Courier that he basically didn't think that there were any issues in the student bathrooms.
Right.
At school. So that was a point of denial that led me to believe that he is out of touch with his peers.
Absolutely.
He sat in some of those board meetings where the girls were coming and speaking against having this happen. So,
and he would make faces
when
they would speak and talking about how uncomfortable they are. He'd be like, roll his eyes. And I mean, he's young. He's a young kid.
Yeah.
I don't fault him for that. He doesn't know. He's a teenager, but, yeah. And then, that kind of contradicts what all of the other of his supporters are saying, that there's no bathroom issues, because they're all like, oh no, the bathrooms there's fights, there's drugs in there. So there kind of are bathroom issues.
Yeah.
So his statement is pretty contradictory to his followers.
Yes, I would say so.
That's interesting.
But if you're in your own world, and
Right.
unfortunately, that's the deal with leftist thinking. You're kind of in your own world. You have your own ideology, your own philosophy about everything. Yeah. And people who don't agree with it, I mean, you immediately bring out the pitchforks. That's not to say that we don't have craziness on our side.
Right.
But the deal is that there's not one policy that I can think of. Okay, we're not even just talking about school boards now. We're talking presidential, whatever. What policy, what conservative policy can you think of that will harm someone? Which one?
Yeah. That's true. I can't think of one.
There's not.
I'm sure they could think of one.
I'm sure they would, but they would have to come from an emotional perspective.
Yeah,
they're saying by not allowing this biological boy who thinks he's a girl into the bathroom, well, they're going to end up committing suicide because you're not affirming them, that sort of thing. But taking all of the SEL, social emotional crap out of it, there is no policy that I can think of off the top of my head from the conservative side of an issue that is literally going to harm someone. And the right and the left cannot say that.
Right.
That's not true. So.
Right. So. Yeah. Especially because, I have a daughter in high school. I don't want some boy being able to use the bathroom with her.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. Have you heard about what's happening in Higley?
I saw that Higley made the news.
Yes.
It was very brief. It wasn't detailed, but it sounds like those parents pushed back. With some of the, I don't know if it's Gleason, but there's some silly stuff going on with the books there.
No, it was not Gleason. It was an honors literature class. And the teacher had like a pre-approved list of books from Chandler Gilbert Community College.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one of those books was talking about slavery. It had violent, beatings in the book. It had sex scenes in the book. I think even a scene. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that's what I was seeing. And so the parent was like, "What the heck? Why are you giving this to my kid?" Which, and it's not about it being a book about slavery. Like, you're pushing pornography.
Correct.
That's not okay.
Right.
That's never okay.
Right.
Even as a grown adult, you should not be partaking in that. So you're going to go and give it to a 17, 18-year-old kid? No, it's crazy. So anyways, that's what's happening in Higley. And the teacher is being investigated.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
I
criminally.
think that there were some charges that the parents were trying to get pressed.
Yes.
Well, ultimately, when it comes to issues of whether it's slavery, whether it's whatever those things are,
Right.
those are very sensitive topics.
Absolutely.
And there is an appropriate time to talk about those things. I don't think in a random English class or whatever do you just spring that
Right.
on a child.
With your teacher or your peers.
Correct. And if you are going to talk about, let's just take slavery as an example. All right. We know that is in the history of America. So it is appropriate to discuss that in a history class, in a civics class, whatever, so that you understand where you've come from. You don't teach it through a critical race lens where you're racializing everything.
Yes.
You talk about the issue, and then you talk about legislation that has abolished it.
Right.
And we're just not seeing that anymore. We're getting nonsense, like what was in this book.
Yes, absolutely.
And then a lot of the narrative around slavery in America is just very leftist thinking. It's talking points. It's ridiculous because if you really cared about that issue, there are slaves on the earth right now. There's a much bigger slave trade than when Black people were bought here.
Right.
And this trade involves children.
Right.
So but that maybe is a different topic for a different time.
Yeah.
The point with the Higley situation is that I am so glad that whoever that parent was, they spoke out.
Yes.
And they went like the distance.
Yeah.
To make sure that was investigated.
Yeah, because according to the teacher, they were the only parent that had a problem with it.
Okay.
And they even had some of the students in class come and talk at the board meeting in favor of the teacher. So I don't know.
There's always that.
Yeah.
I'm always like low key impressed how the silly news organizations, they will find a person who will come and contribute to the narrative.
Yes.
I mean, they find people so quick. I mean, the issue was voted on at like 5 p.m. and by like 8 p.m. that night when it's on they've got somebody already doing a live report. But,
you're going to the Mesa board meeting tonight?
Oh, well, howdy do. Okay, so I am. I'm going to go to the Mesa board meeting this evening. I was actually requested to come. So it's always great when I'm requested to come somewhere.
Yeah.
Then I feel more justified when I cause trouble. And then I wore this shirt because I just want to explain to people who don't know. Where the rainbow truly comes from. Okay, so the book of Genesis is the origin story of the rainbow. Absolutely. Note that the rainbow has 7 colors, not 6, plus a brown stripe and a triangle and a circle and, some transgender person with their hair on fire. Like everything they add to that flag is ridiculous. So for those who don't know, the Lord flooded the earth because people were being wicked. Some of the same abominations were on the earth that caused the Lord to kill everybody. But then through Noah, he made that covenant and put the rainbow in the sky. That's the truth.
Yep.
So all that crap going on with the library books, it's just all a lie.
Yeah.
It's being perpetuated on children because children will, they'll believe it.
The word, perversing what God stands for. That's okay.
So I just want to say that it is very important that people educate themselves. And on November 5th, if you in the past have not voted, or if you're considering not voting, I'm going to ask you to reconsider because we need everyone on the playing field. I know that we get tired of that cliche of this is the most important election ever, but no, really. This time around, we cannot let a witch get into the White House. Number one. Number two, there are lots of different offices. I know you and I care a lot about what happens with schools because that's foundational to everything, the family, the kids. But there are lots of offices that need attention. There's council members, there's probably some judges, there's different offices where people need to be paying attention and making sure that their voices are heard by casting that vote. So
no, absolutely.
That's my plug for that.
Let's just throw some plugins here for some who people should vote for, right? Candidates. Number 1, Maricopa County Superintendent Shelley Boggs. She's amazing. Love her. let's see, Deer Valley School District. We have Kim Fisher.
Yes.
Tiffany Hawkins.
Yes.
And Dr. Karen Pack.
Okay.
Peoria Unified School District. Jeff Toby and Janelle Bowles, and only 2.
Yes. But then I wanted to plug why we need to explain to people why they're voting for 2. Okay. Because Heather Rooks is the incumbent who is in office for 2 more years. So if you can count to 3, that means we have the majority. Okay?
If we get Jeff and Janelle in there, we have the majority vote, and that's all we need.
That's what we need.
Okay?
Simple majority, not super majority.
Yes.
Be simple. Don't be greedy.
Yes.
All right.
So only vote Jeff, Toby, and Janelle Bowles.
Yes.
Okay.
Next.
So let's see. Washington School District.
Elementary School District.
Washington Elementary School District. Thank you.
Karen
Konetsny. Yes,
we got it.
I think we did it.
Don't repeat it.
She is. What did you say? They have a 5-0.
They have a 5-0 radical board in the Washington Elementary School District. So Karen is one who stepped up and is willing to be a conservative voice, even though
she's bravely stepping up to be the one. So support her in Washington Elementary School District. And then Dysart School District. Okay. Please, Denise, do not write me a mean email because I might mess up your name. Denise Dentishe?
Hey, just one time. Keep going.
Mary Jane Ziola and Steven Skvara. Okay. So those are for those in Dysart, which Dysart is doing awesome.
Yes.
Great job in Dysart. Like, be like Dysart. Hashtag be like Dysart. Okay. So vote those 3 in. They'll be doing even better. Okay. Let's see. Who else do we have here?
In Mesa, we have Sharon Benson and Ed Steele.
Yes.
Strong conservatives. We definitely need the votes to go towards those 2. They are strong conservatives, and they are aligned with Rachel Walden, who is doing an excellent job taking all of those punches as the only conservative on that board as well. So
yes. So get Ed and Sharon in there so they have the majority vote.
Correct.
That would be amazing. And then Roosevelt have Tatiana Pena. Okay.
And if we forgot to shout out any candidates, then you have to let us know. We keep as much eyes on the valley as we can.
Paradise Valley. Did we say them?
We did.
No, we
didn't.
We didn't. Okay.
Whoa.
Paradise Valley. So sorry.
Nicole
Did not need to
Klutwick.
forget you.
Eddie Jackson. Susan Winder.
Yes, there we go.
All right. And then I know we didn't shout out Scottsdale. So that's what I was going to say is that if we can shout out candidates for you, please do let us know. You can also send me an email, connect@restoreparentalrights.org. We will make sure that we are repping those candidates. You can also reach out to Mia.
Yep. Instagram me at Just Mia's Podcast. Twitter at Just Mia's Podcast. Tiffany's also on Instagram and Twitter and all the medias.
At Restore Parental Rights.
So there we go. All right. And one last thing. Should we tell them?
We should tell them. Because this is good stuff.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Go ahead. You do it. You do the honors. You do the honors.
Just Mia's podcast, all right, is going to host a West Valley Candidates Forum.
Yes.
Monday, October 7th, 6 p.m. Yep. You will want to visit restoreparentalrights.org/event registration for more information. I'm still working on that page, so some things may change there.
We're finalizing the details. So.
Yes. So we do want people to come. We've got Shelley Boggs as a special guest. Myself as one of the speakers and also the hosts. And then so far we have Heather Rooks as a guest speaker.
Yes.
And we are working on 1 or 2 more.
Yep. And we're going to be inviting candidates.
Yes.
So, keep a lookout for that. Or if you want to come and you're on the West Valley, please feel free to reach out to either of us. So far we have Jeff Toby and Janelle Bowles that will be there. They are confirmed. And we'll be updating as we, get more info. So, exciting. Excited for that. That'll be fun.
Okay.
All right. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. It's always fun to have you on here. So you'll definitely probably see another podcast with us. So yeah, look forward to hearing from you all, and, hope to see you on October 7th. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you know that when new podcast episodes drop. And anything else you got to say?
Get out the vote.
So October 7th is the last day to register to vote. So make sure you register if you're not, even if it's just to vote for your school board candidates, but vote all the way down the line. Republican, of course. Except for NPUSD. Just vote for Jeff Toby and Genova.
You got to remind the people.
Yes.
Remind the people.
All right. So anything else? Is
That's
that
it.
All right.
That's it.
We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.